Lolly told me about those days. She said running around on that ranch, she said of all the guys that were there, the only one that was always kind and sweet to me was Charlie.
Oh.
The only one that was always kind and sweet.
That I'll check mark under that one. Oh. Yeah.
He used to sit
Because
with
Tommy
Grandma.
and Doug was.
Yeah.
They had that on her
And
shoulder.
Harry.
And every night, before I'd go to bed, I could hear Grandma in there praying for him. There's a song that came out the other day about, it's a praise song about this guy that comes in and hears his mother mumbling, then crying, talking. And he goes in, and what she's doing, she's praising God. But he said it sounded like mumbling to him. And he said she's just talking to Jesus. And that was a mean song.
Thank
And it
you.
reminded me of
Thank you, darling.
what she
Sweet.
used to do about the boy, Harry.
Baby.
What about the goat or sheep or something that you told them that the next door neighbors?
He told me, go get it and drag it up, I
Yeah.
shoot it. I shot it.
That was back in the old days.
And then Harry had one leg, Charlie had the other, and they drug the hide off of it, get into the house.
Something about Laura and I gathering eggs and somebody beating on the outside of the chicken house. And they shut the door for us. They shut the door for us. And then go
Shut you in there?
They'd shut you in and then hit the side of the thing so the chickens would
would
get
get
them all ruckus. Oh my
Ruckus.
gosh. I didn't mind gathering eggs, but I was afraid of those chickens. Oh my gosh. Well, Charlie always talked about that he knew Grandma was praying for him. That is like that's the only reason they came home was because Grandma was praying for them,
Yeah.
and they knew it.
I did that too, because I'd go in at night and she'd say, get on your knees. Tom, Dad would come in, Mother Teddy, she'd make you get on your knees, and then we'd pray for the boys overseas, Charlie and Harry.
How many different countries did you all serve in?
Got a whole sign.
Yeah, so there's a whole tree. It has them all in chronological order.
8 or 7 or 8.
Yeah, and then there's pictures of this one riding a donkey at the base of the pyramids. They were all on horseback, riding around in front of the pyramids. It's
Why'd you
amazing.
get a donkey and not a, like
It's
a
amazing.
Because they have Arabian horses there, and they put me on one, and it took off, and my dad had to chase it after me, and I'm literally screaming for my life.
Yeah, you buy this.
Arabian, I mean, they're race horses.
Yeah.
Hardcore. Oh, my dad had a race after, and go have the horse after that. I was just,
That's a regret.
I'll take the donkey.
like the donkey will
want the
butt me
donkey.
every 5 minutes. All the villagers are like,
Even after you boiled it.
Even after you boiled it,
Wow.
but I felt safe on that day.
Wow.
Even though what made America special
Yes.
was our water.
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
Was our water.
Supermarkets
Yeah.
and our water.
Water.
Those are the two things he said that make America great above other countries.
water.
Is our clean water and our supermarkets. Ready, food is readily available. 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, refrigerated and non. And that's what he said. That those are the two things that make America so different from every
It's a
other
lot of
country.
work to kill something and clean and clean, I'm just telling you. Good. It's a lot of work.
So, who said that, Robin? Charlie?
Charlie.
Go down the store.
Charlie said that.
I don't have that
What'd he
written
say?
That what makes America special is our ability, the availability of clean water out of our tap whenever we want it, and supermarkets.
Darn right.
Because no one else has the supermarkets that we have.
Everybody else lives in a food desert.
Well, not even,
Like the
but
east
the
side.
fact that you have to go daily
Right.
to get vegetables, meats,
Right.
fruits, that kind of thing. Yeah, he said that's what makes America. The two things that in his experience of living
That's
all
fine.
over the world.
Pretty dead on.
Yeah, yeah.
I know clean water is a big one. That's awesome.
And then he knew that Grandma Johnson was praying for him.
She's in
Always.
the car.
He said, I know that's why we came home
It's running out of gas.
from Vietnam, because we knew she was praying for us every night.
That's awesome.
The only reason I ran it back.
Yep.
Well, I'm sure he is with
Oh, grandma and grandpa. Heck yeah. Heck yeah.
He's probably perch fishing.
Perch fishing,
Or
is that
getting
what
his
she
crab
said?
pots.
Or crab
Getting his
pots.
crab pots.
Yeah, I think it was about 2 weeks before he passed, he actually told me that, he said, I just talked to your dad, and he said, we're gonna have such a good time. And I knew it was my dad talking to him.
Yeah.
Yep.
And,
I've
and
heard
seeing the woman on the couch, and he had to put his t-shirt on because there's a lady there, and she wants him, you know, and I said, you don't need your t-shirt, we're going to bed, and he wouldn't, I said, okay, leave your t-shirt here, and if she wants to come get you, I'll help you put it on. And then there was an elderly man outside the patio.
Wow. Now that wasn't your. It was a different man than is at the house, who he saw. It was not the man that.
He didn't describe the man, so
No,
I'm
he-
not
it's
sure.
not.
It was
It's
just-
not
I
the
think
man.
he's gone now
Yeah.
because I
Really?
don't sense him at all. But
You don't. Okay.
Might have been there
Because
today.
you,
The
Sky,
kids-
didn't you see him upstairs?
The kids sense
when I was
him,
little, yeah.
Okay.
Like a lonely man.
Yes.
Oh.
but he's not harmful.
But it wasn't the same man.
No,
It wasn't.
No.
Okay.
they were all angels coming to take him, but he wasn't ready to go.
That's
Yeah.
good.
He wanted to stay.
Grandma
Yeah.
talked about that. Yeah. Grandma Johnson.
Oh, Grandpa yes, Johnson.
those stories.
Yeah.
They ate
Yeah.
the fish. And
The best
She
fish
woke
she'd
up
ever
from
had.
her afternoon nap, and she asked Tommy and I to come in. She had something very important before she forgot. She wanted to tell
I was
us.
standing right there with her.
The lovely couple that came and got her and said, we want to show you some things, but you will come back. And so she went freely. There was picnics, beautiful music, the garden. She was telling me about the flowers. And they said, now you have to go back. But this is, we have things ready for you.
Oh,
She said she didn't want to settle.
She didn't want to go back. So you've got to go back. And it was a few
Yeah.
days.
So in your spare time, if you want to read, there's a book that I'm reading, and it's called Welcome Home or Welcome God. I've got
Text
it.
me.
I will, and it's stories about just that happening to so many people, and some it scares, and some they don't want to go back, and they go, no, it's not your time yet. So they're all different ways that they communicate with us.
wow.
We know he's there.
Absolutely.
To make that party
I'm in a seat actually. For you.
for him.
This is a spot.
Yes.
That's what I wanted.
Assist with it.
This is a spot. Just sit here, just with kind of a naked stare and just look out in the pasture.
Oh, good.
He's happy.
And you wonder what all
All
those eyes, what all those eyes have seen.
It's therapeutic, but at the same time, you don't want to forget the nuances.
Now, it was about, I'm thinking a week after Charlie had passed, Summer and I, our first time out, and we were in an Italian restaurant, and we had 2 seats by ourselves, and we were having a glass of wine, and crying and talking, and out of the corner of my eye, I saw something just said there was a man coming out of the restroom. So I just kind of saw him, and then all of a sudden, the man stops directly behind us. Our backs are towards him, and then he goes, whatever it is that Charlie used to do all the time, in the middle of the restaurant, right directly behind us, and then walks away.
No way.
Yeah. Isn't that cool?
Yeah. I told Summer right away. I said, you know who that was?
See, up to midnight talk about these stories.
Yeah, you remember
we
that?
did.
He
Yeah.
did that all
Yeah.
the time.
Yeah, he used to do that all the time.
All the time, and for some stranger just to
Some
come
guy
in
come
a
up and do
restaurant, stop right behind our backs to do it.
Yeah, that is really.
Makes you wonder now.
Yeah, well, it's, there's no wonder.
There's no
one.
one saying
Yeah.
that's the great
It's
thing.
no wonder.
It's
Yeah.
not a wonder, like, oh wow, I wonder if that. There are some things that are so clear, and I know we've all done it. We've asked I don't know what you want me to do. I need a frying pan. I need you to make it abundantly clear that this is what you want me to do or not do. And when you get that smack, it's like, Thank you.
Yep.
I think. Thank you. Okay, now I know. Now I know. And that's one of those, it's like, I don't wonder. I know what that was and what he just letting us know he's here. Just letting us know he's here. That's all. No message with it that except maybe comfort. You know, I hear you. I see you, and I'm here.
Yep.
Yeah.
We'll
That's
catch up with
awesome.
them later, but
I love it.
not right now.
Yeah. No. We still have work to do. Still have work to do. Talking about him being baptized in the Blanco River.
Yeah.
Yep.
Oh my, I didn't see that.
Oh, Uncle Doug baptized them. Yes.
And
I heard the
Cole and
story.
Katie.
It was that close to being a wreck because he's so big we couldn't hardly get his ass out of the river.
We're on slippery rocks trying to help him. He did it, he's like, do it again! Dad dunked him twice.
Dunked him twice. That was
I
priceless.
talked to Charlie for a long time when I got on board. She's sitting right there with the skies. And you look out at that tank. And I tell him, different things and stuff. And I tell him, really need to find a church and get into it. You're my preacher. I don't want to go. I'm not going to go. You're my preacher. I said, no. I'm your uncle. That's the difference. And he said, and I told him, I said, Charlie, you ever remember being baptized? You ever remember saying those words? Absolutely no. So he and Kathy both said that prayer. He gave their heart to the Lord. And I said, now you need to be baptized. And so he said, okay. So me and Kathy gave me permission. And I talked to the pastor about it. And of course, I'm one of the elders in the church and stuff. He said, sure. It's perfectly good. So we took them over to the river, just down from where we lived, the river. And Cole and Katie went with them. And we baptized all four.
Cool, thank you.
And Spencer and Kim had to get in the river with him to get him up. Baptized him.
He's a big man.
Huh?
He's a big man.
Solid weight. Solid weight.
Someone raised that boy right.
Go, Mama, go.
That was one of the biggest honors I'd ever had.
How many people have you baptized? Do you have to keep a list somewhere?
I think you started with me and Teresa.
Yeah,
we were talking about
that last
I don't know, 5 or 6, 7, 8.
Well, get well so that you can do that for me.
I'm going to.
Okay.
Let's let that little bag float in the water behind you.
So sorry.
So we'll let that little bag float in the water behind you. It'll be all good.
And somebody's gonna have to help him.
We'll be
That
upstream.
way, if he gets in trouble, we can grab that bag and just.
You're getting his attention.
Spoken like a true doctor.
What you said, Uncle Ivar?
That's right. It's true.
Yeah, we can rescue him with it. It's not going anywhere.
Haul him in.
It's at least a 30cc balloon.
Oh, crap.
That sounds.
I wondered you were like that. You know all about bags.
That's right.
Oh, bag.
And we're over here talking about how big the balloon is. It's fine. It's at least 30 cc's. It's good.
We're here to talk about
In
it.
case it goes under, you can find it.
That's right.
Not gonna go under.
But every time Charlie would come, we spent a lot of time here on the porch with Kathy and without Kathy, talking about the Lord and what He's doing in his life, and how He protected him and Harry both overseas, and how good God was, and how Grandma introduced me to the Lord, and let me introduce you to Him too. And we sit and we talk, and it just made all the difference in the world. He said, I just feel at home when I come across the category. Just when I come across the category. And he didn't want to ever leave the porch. He stayed right here as long as we could.
You have that stare.
I remember the last time we came across the cattle guard, right about right before it was this tremendous smell of cinnamon. Remember we were telling you about it? I mean, and we looked around and there was nothing, you know.
No cinnamon.
And oh, cinnamon everywhere.
Huh.
You smelled it too? Both of you?
That was
Really?
the last time you were here.
Well, we'll just have to check that out.
I think that's the
I'm
day.
gonna be sipping for cinnamon.
Probably Francis was making apple pie.
That's
Yeah.
Could have
right.
been
Oh,
cinnamon
man.
pie. There you
Oh.
go.
We've heard.
Yeah.
We've heard really good things.
Make cinnamon pie. I'll make apple pie.
He loved the chicken and dumplings, so.
Yeah.
He did like those too.
Emily is so proud that Aunt Molly taught her how to do chicken and
Oh, really? Oh, wow.
Your grandma recipe?
Does anybody
Yeah.
have grandma's coconut cake
I
recipe?
don't have that.
That's what he wants, and I'm like, you're looking
Got her
at the
lemon
wrong
pie, too.
person.
Bob and Waldrick are the over.
Yeah, Bob Macklin loved that coconut
Oh,
cake.
yeah.
I haven't tried, I haven't even tried to make
Okay,
Some
well,
things
I
are
want
You
the
don't have the
chicken
recipe,
and
you probably can
dumplings
do it.
recipe.
Not like her.
I want to know how to make chicken.
Actually,
Grandma Johnson's chicken and dumplings. I want to know how to do that.
You think maybe Roger to get the kitchen to do it?
She made a freaking banana pudding, which is the only thing I wanted to do.
Yeah.
But it got rejected.
I make good
No,
banana.
I think that she'd make pretty good.
She said that she gave it to me. Like, I want banana pudding, that got it. Like, ah.
Okay, I got that written there.
Charlie always made me feel loved.
Well, it's because he loved you.
Well,
I mean, he loved,
He loved
you.
He-
He
and-
had the biggest
And that's the thing, Paula.
Our
He
trip to
loved him.
California,
He
our
loved.
trip to California.
Absolutely.
If it wasn't Maggie or Charlie, Harry drowning me, and Ruth trusted me in the pool with those three hound knocks every evening with the pool, and she did all the driving, of course. And so, Paula, take the kids out to the swimming pool, and I said, and I'm going. And I couldn't swim, but they were all frog. I mean, they was. But yes, that summer, I really got connected with the three of them.
you know, Charlie waited to get baptized, but he was always a Christian. If you read Micah 6:8, you know, and hear then, O man, what the Lord doth require of thee, but to walk justly, love mercy, walk justly.
And we'll come
Act.
with
Try again. Love mercy.
And we'll come with like.
Yeah, I got it. But anyway, those
Walk
but-
humbly, walk
Yeah.
humbly with your God.
Yeah. Love mercy, act justly, and walk humbly
Walk
with your
humbly
God.
with
That's
your
what
God.
it is. But he did that his
He
whole
did.
life. You know, that basically is the great commandment. That's love. And every story I've heard about Charlie, talked about how he did something loving for somebody, how he accepted without condition, how he respected without regard, and how he was willing to help anyone, and travel the world, keeping everybody safe. It doesn't get more loving than that.
Which brings me to a
That
story.
is love.
I gotta tell you a story now, Douglas. Yeah, I gotta tell you a story. This is a Charlie story. One time when we were little, Charlie especially likes chocolate cake. And he and his mom got into a real brawl about not finishing his supper, and chocolate cake was what was on the menu for dessert. And he was just really upset because Ruthie said, "No, son, you don't get chocolate cake because you didn't finish your supper. I'm sorry, but that's the way it is. You know the rule in the house, and that's the way it is, and you don't get any chocolate cake." And so Mother was sitting there, and she said, "Well, I'm sorry, Charlie, but that's just the way it is. You know, your mama's right. This time you don't get chocolate cake." So she was sitting there, and she said, "Ruthie, I think I'll have a piece of chocolate cake tonight." She said, I'm hungry for chocolate cake tonight myself." I said, "Could you cut me a piece?" I said, "Sure, Mama, I'll get you a piece of chocolate cake." She said, "A little bit bigger than that." And so Ruthie cut it a little bit bigger. She looked at her mama kind of funny, and she said, "Yeah." She said, "I'll get take that for you, Mom. So she did, and it was a nice big piece. And so she cut it and put it in front of Mama, and Mama said, you know, I'm really not hungry for chocolate cake tonight. She said, here, Charlie, you eat this for me. He had Mama's affection for the rest of his life. And I think that's a piece of story that needs to go on.
Yeah.
Y'all need to know about how how Charlie and Mama had that special relationship. They were close, and he loved his grandma.
Yeah, when she was
SR.
sick, we came to the apartments to see her, Charlie and I did. And on the way, we stopped and picked some flowers, and then we brought them to her, and Charlie was so proud. And then she goes, good Lord, you know, these are blue bonnets. You can't take
Not in the state of Texas.
Yeah, that's right, that's right. Oh, Lord.
But they're beautiful.
Yeah, you can't peek blue bonnets in Texas. Yeah, she had her ways. But she loved her grandchildren and her children.
Yeah.
She really did.
She wasn't any different one than she was to the others.
Oh, that's
She
right.
might have
Different times.
counseled each one differently, but I remember Charlie going around sucking his thumb when he was 17, I guess. He did for a long, long time, but messed his teeth up here in the front. And Grandma was talking to him, and he was sucking his thumb. And she said, I'm gonna break him from doing that. And there used to be something called bluing that women put in the laundry to put on clothes. It was blue, and it was stained. The mother painted his thumb with that blue stuff.
Oh, I have some of
You
that
look
at
at
the
it
house.
like
Have to
that,
keep your
you
dungarees
just
blue.
Fold it up and fold it down. You're always with
Well,
his
let's keep your
It's
whites
actually
white.
white.
Keep your
It's
whites
for
white.
Yeah,
Oh.
it's blue,
Put
but
it
it's
back
for
in
white.
there.
Like hair dye.
Of course, he was up talking, he could hear you and everything. So,
I catch myself feeling bad that Charlie had to go through illness and pain. But it almost had to be like that because he was such a goer. God says, I want your attention. And that's the path he had to take. I feel bad that all of you went through a lot with keeping him on his 2 feet.
We tried.
Yes. But God got his.
there were several nights in the week that Kathy would call me and
Katie Lee.
Charlie would want me to play with him. And we did.
Many
Okay.
times. Many times I'd call you.
And it was, seemed like it settled when we did pray together.
That's what prayer does for you.
He
Yeah, it does.
relaxed. I think he felt the presence of God. I really did. I think he learned a real relationship with God during that period of time when he would come and we'd talk. And I took him to church with me on several occasions. And the pastor got to know him. And everybody appreciated him and everything. But yet he wanted me to do what I told him the pastor would do. But between him and what God gave me the ability to do, or God gave me the privilege to do, for a young man, I've done that. And we were sitting here talking, I was thinking about the word I got from God. And the word was that there's going to be young men come to you, and you're going to pray with them, and you're not even going to know why. 3 weeks later, I was at the river, on the road, pulling the road, and this guy come up and stopped and got out and said, "Is this your place?" And I said, "Yeah." And he said, "I've been looking for 2 or 3 acres to build a home for my wife and 2 sons." I said, "Well, we have land on the river, but I couldn't break it up, but I said, you're welcome to go down there and look. So he did. He went over and sat on the rock house, sat on the porch, the rock house, and looked at it, and he come back out a little later, and he come back up, and for some reason, it wasn't like me to say, I don't pray. I didn't know how, I didn't want to. I felt uncomfortable with it at that time. And I looked at him when he got up out of the car, and he looked at me, and I looked at him, and I said, I don't know. I know I'd be dead wrong. But I feel like that I'm supposed to pray for you. And he just looked at me and turned the key off and got out of the car. I said, oh, he's fixing to knock me smooth off this tractor. And he come over and put his hand on my knee, put his head on my knee, and he was crying. He said, please do. He said, I have pancreatic cancer, and they don't think I'll live for 6 years. He said, I put it in place. And that's what got me started after that. It was always young men. It was never women that I prayed for. One of the guys I prayed for finally accepted the Lord. And he died with leukemia shortly thereafter. Then the preacher's dad, father-in-law, his wife's father, name was Dale. He's a big old rough, mean hombre. And I told him one time at the ranch when he was on a retreat, I said, until you accept the Lord in your life, you're going to be the most miserable man I've ever walked. Next Sunday, I went into church and he was there. And when I went through the door, he grabbed my hand, Charlotte went on hand, and pulled me into the main room. Into the library room. And he said, can we talk a minute? And I said, yeah, we talked during the whole service. And he kept saying, well, I'm just going to wait. And I said, what if you drop dead? What are you going to do? What difference does it make today or tomorrow? I said, all you got to do is open your mouth and say it. That's all. I said, for the courage you don't have, God will give it to you. And at the very last of the service, we were getting through inside. He said, I want to do this. He said, but would you walk with me up front? I said, get up, Mr. I said, you coward, come on. And I took him in, and they were just getting through with the service. In fact, the pastor prayed and dismissed it. So when I walked through the door, I said, y'all hold on just a minute. I said, Dale's got something he wants to say to everybody. And he said, you say it. And I said, no, you say it. Say it out loud. Say it where everybody can hear you. And he said, I'm going to accept the Lord. I'm going to let him come into my home. His daughters were in the audience, both of them, and they screamed because they'd been wanting their dad to get saved for a long time. And after they talked to him and everything, prayed with him and everything, the pastor asked him, he said, when do you want to be baptized? He said, right now. We took him down to the river. The pastor had on some shorts. He jumped in, cold like a stone gun. And he pulled his shirt off and just dumped it like a corpse in the back. He died. And there's been so many cases like that that's happened in the world that I had the honor, the privilege to be a part of it. And I don't think there's anything in my life that I've ever done that was more meaningful than pray with someone. That was the way it was with Charlie. Finally, he said, I've had enough. Let's do it. And he meant it.
Yes, he did.
And Larry, I don't know if you remember, but I did some family gathering, and I told this when we were in California, that you asked Charlie, you said, Charlie, did you ever kill anybody when you were over in Vietnam? And he's like, well, I don't know. We might have shot at each other. But there was one time when we were up north, and we were on patrol, and my point man held up to stop everybody and motioned for me to come up. And he said we were fixing to cross a creek, and in the bottom of the creek, where the water was running, there was a big tiger print. Where a tiger had just came across. The mud was still coming off of the trail, and I just thought that the stories, that the difference between the two brothers. Harry will tell you some stuff that you want to hear, and maybe a little more, and you're not going to get that from Charlie. He wasn't. Those are the kind of stories he would tell you.
Yeah.
And I remember that because I was a young fella, still kind of young.
I remember that story, yeah.
Yeah.
He told us to.
The
Yeah.
water was just filling in the paw print, like
Yes.
they literally just missed
That
it.
big,
Oh my
big
gosh, can you imagine?
Asian tiger went across, but I just thought that was just, there's such a difference between the brothers and how they relate to things and do things, and I guess maybe that goes back to his spirit.
Boastful and
No, he never
prideful, and he was just such a humble
Yeah.
giant.
Yeah.
And always spoke good words. Never was
Yeah, the two
negative.
words go together with Charlie, don't they? Humble and giant. But his heart is always giant. When his body so much as his heart.
Both, yeah.
Forget that.
Yes, sir.
Irk.
Yes,
I love
sir.
that nickname. That's
Yes, sir.
perfect
Perfect.
acronym for him. Irk.
We were lucky enough to go to the Virginia Beach House during the COVID. The doctor said, the doctor said, get out of here, so we did. And we went with our friends and we stayed there 5 weeks, and it was the best time because we ate the fish, we did everything, and we relaxed, and because there was no contact with anybody else, it was just the four of us. So we'd be out on the porch in our rocking chairs, swing porch, and he would start telling stories, and I recorded him.
Oh, you did. That was
And I
so
have him on
smart.
my phone, and he's telling that story, and then he's telling one about the tiger did take one of his Marines in front of him.
Really?
Grabbed him in the tree. Yeah, you should. I mean, I'll play it.
Oh, no. Wow.
It's up to you
Wow.
Play it.
guys. Yeah, he actually did.
Hear him.
I've never heard that one.
Let's hear his voice.
Yeah. Oh, that'll be nice.
Oh, good.
Okay, I'm gonna warn y'all then. I'll.
When they talked about the ranch and the trip to California and stuff like that.
I don't have tears
We
though.
never
That's the
talked
good thing.
about
Oh.
Thank you, there it is.
Oh.
And if I
There it
even
is. I
went
was looking
there,
for this
yeah,
earlier.
I talked to Harry, asked him for the present.
Yeah.
I never even
You're the
brought
best
this.
nephew she's got.
He didn't offer it up, did
Only
he?
one, right?
Talk about it.
She has another one,
but I
Oh,
don't
you're,
think
still, you're still the best.
A facade that was ourselves, we're gonna talk about grandma.
Yeah.
Right.
It never was about Charlie. It was-
Harry told Kip something, Cole, some stuff that you can't unhear. It's like, holy crap. Dad's like, I'm sorry, son, I didn't mean for Harry to say that in front of your son. I was like, well, he's heard it all before. But, I mean, that's how graphic Harry is, and that's the difference.
Yes.
It's, same bloodline, same family, it's just,
Charlie was about other people. Harry's about Harry.
Well, Charlie, people get all involved with the elite people, the Rangers and the SEALs and that kind of stuff. But when you talk about personal accomplishment,
man.
how many sergeant majors have there been in the Marine Corps? How many
command.
Marines?
Command
How
sergeant
many?
major.
That's right.
Yeah.
How many people make it to 9 stripes,
Well.
2 diamonds?
Yeah.
Wow.
That's a mighty small group.
When I went
Yeah,
to the
rarefied air.
Yeah.
when I went to the cops for for a little escort, just the block traffic and whatnot. When I said Sergeant Major, Marine Corps, that police officer, he changed his whole, at first he was just kind of, listening to me. It's a 30+ year retired Marine Sergeant Major, and he's like, Sergeant Major? I'm like, yes, sir. He's like, we got you.
Oh, that's.
We got you.
Oh.
We got you.
Yeah, who called the deputy sheriff because
He did.
the-
He did.
did he call him?
No,
Because I saw you out there
yeah.
talking to
Yeah.
him.
I didn't
Because
make
he
that
picked us
contact.
up right there. I'm like, I thought I saw
See,
somebody say very cool.
I work, Marcus comes to school.
Right.
The Blanco police officer.
Right.
So he's who was at our house.
Because he asked
And
who's
he
going to follow
blocked
you.
traffic up to 290. And then he called Johnson City Sheriff's Department.
And
And
they
then they
picked up.
did the rest.
Oh,
of it.
that's
those
sweet.
are so sweet
Yeah.
of them.
Yeah, that was really cool.
It was nice of him to do that.
It's that's what gets me is the level of respect that the other people, the honor guard, the police officers have.
Where
for,
were we talking about that y'all have seen? Maybe it was Kathy that said that his ranking on base when they would go to Camp Pendleton or whatever, that officers
Would salute him?
would salute him
Yeah.
before he could salute the officer because they knew his ranking
That's
was
your
as
match.
high
You
as
don't
you
just-
could
Yeah,
go.
yeah.
And the respect with that.
I remember going on Pendleton one time. We were going to commissary, and we were driving up, and of course he has this little thing on the window. And he's like, "Watch this!" And man, we drove through, and those guys, doing their thing.
I was in middle school, and I remember Mary and I were like,
Whoa! Yeah.
"You are so cool."
Well, as I said, they've never been around anybody that was saluted.
No.
So to see people just pop as
Yeah.
soon as they saw the car,
They didn't play.
and they were like, "Wow! Did you see that? Wow!"
And then he went and harassed the lifeguard to take a picture with Morgan because he was the California lifeguard surfer.
"We still remember his name."
Bryce.
Bryce.
Yeah.
Bryce.
Yes.
It's, on the Marine
The
beach.
Marine Beach.
They had
Yeah.
a lifeguard.
You
That
just
was
grew up that. They could've
typical
grown up.
California. And
Yeah.
all my girls were
Pretty
smitten
much,
with him.
We were on base all the
Not
time.
everybody's dad got treated like that, right?
Yeah, no.
Yeah.
Well, I was to say for her, it's like we see this every day, but for us, it was
Yeah.
just like. And then the girls were at it. They were old enough to appreciate it.
Yes.
You know, they were in middle school, and so it wasn't like they were Finley's age and whatever. They were like, wow, that's cool. That's really cool.
Where's Katie?
That's all right.
I'll find you.
Did she leave?
I just did it.
Me and Charlie were, and Kathy, we were fishing there in the Chesapeake or whatever bay that was, and we've been catching those perch, all those little perch, nonstop, little beetle spin or whatever you call it, little spinnerbait things, just little bitty. And we're catching perch after perch after perch, and we're kind of anchored off on an oyster pad, and the water was shallow, but it was like a round, it was like a mushroom, and we were on that. And we're catching these perch like crazy. Well, I got tired of catching the perch. So, anyhow, I just take the line, I cut off the perch, or the little spinner, I put on a big J hook, and I take the perch and I cut it in half, and I'll throw that one in. I get another pole and just cut the line off and put a big J hook on it, and the other half of the perch throw it in. I think I rigged up 4 poles. And we're sitting there and all of a sudden, boom, boom, boom. And they're stripers, and they're good sized stripers. And you're like, holy moly, brr, I've been fishing out there all my life. I didn't know any of these fish. I was like, all you gotta do is, because I was fishing, and a big striper came up and tried to eat the perch
It was on your hook.
that was on my hook, and it was right at the boat. I was like, oh, boy, you got a striper here? Oh, we got some striper. And anyhow, I gave him such a hard time. You've been here all these years, and you're catching these little perch. And all you have to do is cut them in half, and head and heel them, and throw them out.
He was pissed at you.
We had a party from Virginia, and we stuffed those with crab in the lining, and I grilled them on the grill, and the whole neighborhood came over, because of course that was her neighborhood, and we had the largest time, and everyone loved the fish with the crab, and just the whole party was fun. And
Is that the time that Charlie caught you passed out in the grass at like 5 o'clock in the morning and yeah, Cam! Get inside!
You weren't supposed to tell that part of the story.
he was talking to somebody about somebody else.
That was the other kid.
Figure it all out. Yeah, I'm sure.
Sometimes I eat and I go to sleep. But
Of course, you know I can't find it when I want it.
Robin was out there one time, and they had the church. Apparently, it was on the bluff. This deal built in the 17 or 1600s, and the church, a hurricane or something, whatnot, and you could still. The water was clear, the water was shallow, and it was sandy, and we waded up there in the shallow water, catching those little perch nonstop. And we brought home bricks and just Mentos. from the time, and
It's
just
kind of
such
like
good memories.
stealing, and I didn't want to steal it, but I just really wanted one of those bricks. It was
still have
a
'em.
church. It was like one of the original churches.
And those
Robin?
bricks were apparently fired in England
And
Yeah.
and brought over in ships. Yeah. Which is kind of cool. They're still there. You'll probably see them now.
I think
Well,
everybody's pretty much
I was
taken
gonna
the
say,
chance
because
out of
people
Patty and
like
Ryan.
Robin Johnson, who steal one,
They
but
were-
when you've got hundreds and hundreds of people that just want one, then they're all gone.
Well, just the good memories out there.
But I still have it.
And running the crab
I still have
traps
it.
and
It's in my garden.
just the, I wouldn't say the protocol, or just the process. Get up in the morning, we're gonna go fishing. We're gonna throw those little spinner baits, we're gonna catch the perch. We're gonna throw them in a cooler with ice, and we're gonna come back about 9 or 10. We're gonna clean them out in a little cleaning station, and they had the cover, and it's like a cable spool or something.
It was a
Just-
cable spool.
and just-
It
just-
is.
And little sharp knives, and we're gonna fillet the perch by hand.
And who'd we listen
And-
to? Always listen to country
Tell you
music.
whatever music he had on,
Yeah.
and take little quarter shots of that Virginia Gentleman.
Virginia Gentleman,
And,
yep.
and after it's kind of a little process, and then the
Yeah.
ladies
Out
would
of chip beef jars.
Yep. And,
Yep.
But it wasn't it wasn't a lot. It wasn't not a lot of drinking, but just
No.
kind of a little routine.
Just a
And,
little sipping,
and then
yeah.
the ladies would get the perch fillets, and they would bread them and fry them up, and they were like a heavy potato chip. And they were wonderful, and that
Oh
was
my
our
gosh,
lunch.
yes.
And then, of course, you've been fishing, you've been up since 6. You know, you had just a little bit of drink, you had a little eat, and take a little nap, and then the evening we go fishing again, and
Pull crab pots.
full crab
Yeah.
pots. And,
Perfect living.
yeah.
It was
Yeah.
so fun.
Not the fishing, but the water and the beach.
And I had never been crabbing before. Because we don't have that.
I still have that video.
We don't have
Us
crabbing.
being at the lodge.
And it was so fun.
I was pregnant with
Virginia.
JP.
Imperial
When she
Beach
trimmed
and the
his eyebrows.
sluice.
Yes, and then also when
you
he
were there, and this belly hanging over that mud, bringing it in.
and then when he
These
threw the
trash
crabs
cans
in the
like
house.
that. And then you burp all that sand.
Were you
out
there
of
for
it.
that?
And
Okay,
that's
I have a
when you
video
know
that I'll
that.
show
You
you.
guys knew what
Would
you
have been
did.
salt
was
over a
giant.
baking soda or
That's
something.
something
Then
they
they
put, I
spit
remember.
the sand out.
Yeah.
Wow.
That was the best meal. And she just dumped it on her kitchen table, got a mess, sand on the floor. Didn't bother. Let's just have a good time. We girls got together, got it straightened up later.
That was his happy place too.
Yep.
He loved that.
That's her not.
Okay, so can I just tell one chum
You
story?
can, because I can't find it.
Because, so I've never been offshore fishing until, even though I married a fisherman, we always went down to the Texas coast
Yeah.
The only one I
and
have
we
is
bay
this
fish.
one.
But I've never been offshore fishing until I went with Charlie and Kathy. And this was 15 years ago. And we went out and it was the Dress Blues. They had their big
San
offshore
Clemente,
fishing.
where I'm trying to, that's.
Where they live.
In San Clemente, okay.
And their big offshore boat was called the Dress Blues. Imagine that. And it looked just like marine dress blues. Beautiful. But we go out, of course, I get sick as a dog.
Of
So
Yes.
Of course.
I'm off the back of the boat and
I've never got sick.
come on, Robin, finish your chumming, get back over here. Come on, you've chummed enough. Come on, get your butt back over here on this
Real girl.
pole.
And once you threw up, you were fine.
And then once I did it, I was fine. And he knew
Big old
it.
yellowtail.
Yeah.
And he knew it. He was like, finish that chumming and get your butt back over here. One side, yeah. And I was. Once I did it, I was good to go. And then caught yellowtail, big yellowtail, and we took him home
You got a
and
picture of it.
made ceviche, and oh, it was awesome. It was awesome. And then there were times when Kathy would be, okay, we're gonna leave at 4 a.m., but we're sleeping on the boat. I'm gonna come and I'm gonna wake you up at 4. We're sleeping in the slip in the boat. I'm gonna give you a Benadryl, and then we're gonna go and you're gonna sleep the whole, because it was a 5-hour drive out there.
Pretty good haul.
So I would sleep the whole way out there.
Yeah.
They're all, doing good stomachs like goats over here.
What a
Nothing
Mary.
bothers them.
Yeah.
And I wake up that was the only time
Yeah, the
that
best
I've
trip.
ever been like, oh my gosh, it worked. I felt good from the moment I woke up, fished, it was amazing. Amazing. The fish that we caught,
Best times.
oh my gosh.
You can't
Such,
belong to this family if we don't have some kind of water involved.
yeah, true.
Boats and
Very true.
water and.
I don't
Very
know.
true.
Cold
I
as there any
belong to this
cold?
outfit.
get you
I
one.
don't know.
Oh, I didn't care less.
Stay away from it.
Very true.
You're an anomaly.
We
You
went,
were
Yeah,
in
Lloyd.
we went to Rockport, we drove, it was Ann, well, Thus and Ann. And we drove all the way to Rockport just to eat at this restaurant and have seafood.
Uh-huh.
And of course, I wanted to walk in the sand. Lolly says, I'm gonna stay on the dock with my shoes on, but you can't go to a beach and not walk. And Lolly would not, and I said, did we really come from the same mother?
We did.
Yeah.
We did.
Absolutely.
I can do without it. Real nice.
I don't know. The years I was in San Diego, just, it was baked in me.
Yep,
You see, we
Yeah.
all
Drop
have
the
our
kid at
problems,
school and
Mama.
go running
and
on the
go.
beach.
Yep.
You know, that
Yes.
was the way to live.
Well, we all have our problems.
But of course, now, here, I have to say something about living in Alaska. Who hasn't been there to visit them and see the beautiful weather?
No, the
Oh.
pictures are
Oh,
amazing.
hey,
Postcard.
hey,
The
before,
weather.
I
It
know.
looks
did you
fake,
see,
yeah.
no, did you see the bear
Yes.
paw
Did
print?
you see the picture of
No.
Sigrid?
I saw it,
The
see, he
trash
doesn't have
can.
Facebook. He doesn't do Facebook,
If you
so
showed me
I
pictures
saw
of
the
it.
trash
But you
can
do Instagram,
on
don't
Facebook.
you?
Yeah.
But did you see the bear paw print
Oh, yeah.
in the sand?
No,
Okay.
not in the sand.
Oh, yeah, no, he
See
just
that one
showed
with
me.
the trash can?
And his hand is there to, for comparison.
Comparison.
The bear paw print is like this.
And that was a baby bear?
No, that one was over on Cruise Off.
Okay.
No, the bear that at our house was the mama bear.
Oh,
She had
okay.
2 cubs, and she was having a hard time feeding them, so they've been.
Yeah.
They had to be taken down about 2 days later. They had to get the mom and both the cubs.
Oh,
'cause
that
they were-
makes me so
the mom
sad.
was coming up on a porch
Yeah,
like
but you
this,
Yes.
wouldn't want
standing up,
one
Yes.
pushing on the
that-
patio doors,
Oh.
trying to get into the house, pushing on the glass. So
Really?
Mama was getting
A
aggressive.
little aggressive.
Oh, well,
Hey,
but
what-
she's
And
trying to
that's a
feed her
shame.
babies.
If people would take care of their garbage, we wouldn't have that happen.
The state come and tranquilize them and y'all relocate them? Is that the deal?
No, they get killed. You're not allowed. Once a bear has been,
Danger.
well, gotten used to going after
It's kind
trash,
of like a
trash,
dog
and
that
trash
eats
and
a
stuff.
chicken.
You
Once
can't,
they
you
start,
can't get rid of them. So it's
That's it.
illegal to put them back into the wild. And in Alaska, even rescued cubs, it's illegal to put them back into the wild.
Really?
That's something we're trying to get changed at the bear rehab facility that I've worked with over the years.
Wow.
Because Alaska, Canada, you can re-release them, and most states in the southern 48, you can release them. But in Alaska, you are not allowed to release a set. Because they think they're too trained too much to people.
Yeah.
Oh.
They feel like it's not
They'll
safe.
they'll venture back
Yeah.
and find that. Okay.
But we've got 9,000 people in Sitka, and we've got about 14,000 brown bears.
What?
Wait,
So-
whoa.
Wow.
How many people
9,000
and 14,000 bears?
brown bears.
Oh my.
Heather says if they ever organize, we're in trouble.
Yes.
So
Very true.
We need out
They form a union. get
Very
over it.
true.
Yeah, then we have to move.
Wow.
Have to move.
I think there
Wow.
was one. This is not what I was
I
looking.
had
I've
no
got
idea
pictures
there
of
was
the
that
dressed
many.
blues here when we were there
Yes,
that
yes.
I'm looking for.
Yeah.
But we
You
were
love
talking about chum salmon and the bears.
You came
There's
on
a
the
bear
boat.
stalking a chum salmon
On the
up there
boat,
about
yeah.
6-7 miles from our house.
Yeah. So see, she does like water. She was out in our boat.
I was maybe a 2-year-old.
Oh, and she raved
In
about
dress
it.
blues. She
And
was out
she,
in
yeah,
dress
and she.
Watching.
Yeah.
Because
Watching.
I've not been.
Wow. Look at that
You
water.
mean what? You haven't been.
I love the videos. By the
Yeah.
way, the ones that you do where it's like just watch this,
Yeah.
and it's just he'll do like, oh, because you don't have Facebook, you don't know.
Yeah.
He'll put and he'll be like, just enjoy this peacefulness.
Yeah, well, you showed me that.
30 seconds.
Yeah,
I showed him,
yeah.
and it's like,
They are.
just listen.
They do, they
Just
do calm,
listen.
they do
Just
calm you
listen to
down.
the water, the babbling brook, the birds in the background, and it's just like, I love it when he does this.
All right, you fix to leave? Let's do this.
Is baby
Ash,
asleep?
um,
Is baby asleep?
But she's watching it.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm gonna say,
And now
Charlie,
you're meeting soon with your
love this place, and
neck pillow.
his, one of his requests, he wanted to be part of him, he spread here. So we're gonna honor the man, we're gonna honor his request, we're gonna lay his ashes. Y'all can say a prayer if you like, do whatever you like, but I think the most important thing is he never asked for anything. And the only thing that I ever heard him really request was he wanted his ashes out here
At his Uncle Doug's.
at Uncle Doug's in the ranch. So we're gonna honor that request. We're gonna put him on the ground and complete that mission for Charlie.
Amen.
You got anything you wanna say?
Good.
Charlie?
Mission. I'll catch you later, buddy.
You and Spencer go.
Yep.
Need to stand for a while.
5 minutes.
This thing doesn't get pockets.
Too much. It's not yet. No, we got a truck. Thank Kathy. And to get into it, very nice. Sure. Trust. We're gonna get
Charlie loved the deer. And this is where the deer, so I'm gonna sprinkle it amongst the deer. And then we're gonna do a volley for Charlie.
Yes. Okay, are you ready for that, Aunt Lolly? They're gonna do a round, okay? I just wanna warn you.
A round means 6 shots. I don't know how many they're gonna do, but I think he said just one.
It's Kip. It's Kip with the gun who
No,
probably emptied it.
Spencer has the gun.
Okay.
They both do.
Oh, they both do. They're both gonna.
Yeah.
Okay, Aunt Lolly, maybe more than one.
Love and honor. Love and honor.
Cheers.
Rest in peace, Charlie.
Charlie.